1 o'clock is a good afternoon, huh? So very nice to have these opportunities to share with the alumni of Hong Kong UST on how to promote liver health through Chinese medicine. I personally is a practicing clinician in TCM and with a research background, which is I did my PhD in Hong Kong U. So like a lot of things that we talk about is actually quite fact-based. And then like my passion is like to help people to go through this very hectic city life through using some TCM methodologies. My belief is like, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. So like we have to learn. That's why knowledge base is so important. So in order to not to delay on any of the knowledge sharing, so we will start with like next slide. So before we get into our specific topic, I want to talk a little bit about the TCM. So like Chinese medicines basically has some fundamental differences in comparing to the conventional medicines that we are very familiar with. In Chinese medicines, we believe the human body is an organic unity, which means that the physical, mental, psychological, and spiritual aspect of an individuals are all interconnected and affected each other. So the sense of unity is based on the balancing force of yin and yang is technically two opposite and yet complementary energies that are affecting everything. The theory of yin and yang is like is very fundamental to the practice of TCM in terms of understanding, diagnosis, and treating health issues. At the most basic and the deep level, TCM treatments, the goal of TCM treatments is all seek to balance yin and yang in each person. And also in order to explain the integrity and complexity of the human bodies, Chinese medical scientists and physicians use the 5-element theory to classify the whole human body's endogenous influence on organs, physiological activities, pathological reactions, and environments, or even the external influences. And this is like a slide that I want to share with you guys, is like to illustrate that from each visceral system that we are talking about, we do have its own functions, but it's also interconnected with emotions. And based on all this, like symptoms can arise in each particular systems, and we can actually detect those symptoms and get back to the diagnosis of which system has an imbalance. The internal organs and visceral system are more like physical structures. It's not just like a physical structures in a TCM views. They are complex system also involving aspect of, as I mentioned, the mind, emotion, and spirit. And not only does each organ have a physiological functions, its functions at the visible level and vital energy, or T, will affect the functions and also the health of each systems. So when we look at it, for example, we take liver, which is our topic today, as an example. The functions of the liver is primarily like governing the smooth flow of the energies and blood. It regulates the secretions like bile, and it also affects emotions like it has a particular emotions that related the most, like anger, like frustrations, like all these emotions will affect the general liver health. And when it's manifested as a symptoms, there's a whole list of symptoms, which we will talk about it later on. So back to our core of what we're going to talk about today. We want to understanding the whole liver system, what it can do, why is it so important in health from a TCM perspective. So that's as per it has been how it's being introduced. The liver system is actually belongs to the wood elements in the 5 elements theory. So it's when we talk about it, like the season that related to wood elements is spring. So we in this particular spring season, the wood energy will want to rise up, want to push through, want to get things done. It's an active energy to unblock and develop, making spring a season of growth, rebirth, and renewal. It's all become part of the natures. Associated with the same elements is the liver and the gallbladder system of the human body. Together, these organs are like responsible for the smooth flow of qi and blood in the bodies and regulate emotions. And it's also our first responder channels to the stress in our life. Stress, remember the word stress, huh? Because like in city life or in a city like Hong Kong, stress is something that we cannot avoid. But we definitely need to deal with it. Otherwise, it will manifest in a lot of health problems and emotional problems. So the wood elements teach us how to be flexible and adaptable. And the taste of it's also the taste corresponding to wood elements is sour. So it also has some indication in our daily diets. Like, for example, if we are craving for sour food, probably we do have some imbalance in our liver and gallbladder system. And so by doing that, probably we need, when we crave for it, maybe we just need it, right? So like maybe some sweet sour will help you to balance your liver health automatically already. And liver health is also closely related to the health of eye, our ligaments, and it's also closely related to our emotional anger. When you are extreme angry, like technically you are damaging your liver health. So to have a better understanding of like why those, when you go to see a Chinese medicine doctor, why people say that, oh, you have a headache, so you actually have a liver problem. So like that, we are not making it all up. Because technically what we are looking at is like how the liver meridian flow. So like particular problems that happens to your body can be along your liver meridian is related to your liver health. So just to understand a little bit more, that you can go to the screen and also like see how the whole meridian is moving. So the liver meridians originate from the lateral aspect of the big toes and ascend into your lower leg and then your upper leg, and then you get into your pubic areas, which circle your the genitals, and ascend in the lower abdominal, traveling up around the stomach, and then before entering the liver, it connected to the gallbladder meridian. What worth is noticing is the branch of it is actually penetrating through the diaphragm, spread into the chest, and ascended into the neck, which is going to the posterior of your throat, and then going up and to the around your eye tissues. That's why a lot of symptoms that we're experiencing in the throat, in the eye, we are also connected to your liver health, or reflected, or the health of the eyes will also be a mirror of what is happening inside too. So after passing through your eyes, it will go to your forehead and then end in the vertex, which is like we make with our dual meridian. So like another branch will also separate from the livers and go to merge back into the lung meridian. So by the flow, we can actually see that why some of the pain or the problems in our stomach system, in our lung system, and also in our eye, around our eye, is actually affected by the general liver health. And a lot of times when we find that there's a blockage along the meridian, we'll experience certain reactions. For example, a very common one is a spasm in the feet or lower back, and or lower leg. And also like when we have sometimes when you go to a doctor and find that, oh, I'm coughing out blood, your TCM doctor will tell you that your liver fire is actually like intruding into the normal functions of the lung meridian, which is like true because like because the meridian is all interconnected. And then like a lot of times it's also like people have red eyes, or they have yellow eyes, or if they have a dry eyes. We also like will consider, is it like basically have some imbalance in your lung that cause all this problem? If you are confused at this moment, don't worry about it, because like we are trying to explain one thing is the flow of a meridian has a direct relationships on how we judge the symptoms and how we work on the symptoms, and that we have a definite reason on why we say that is related to the lung meridian or the lung health. So in the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about more about what the liver function is supposed to be. Am I going too fast? It's okay, right? Or should I slow down? Yeah, I'll slow down a little bit in the next couple of slides so that we can have a better explanations on like what the TCM perspective on liver functions. So according to Western medicine, which is we mentioned as a conventional medicines in this slide, according to that, conventional medicines with liver with numerous functions, but then it all sum up into it plays an important roles in the digestions, metabolism, detoxifications, coagulations of blood, and also blood productions and immune modulations. So it's a lot of those functions is like related to the production of biles or proteins for the blood plasma. It also like because like blood is actually liver is actually an organ that store blood and regulate blood. So technically, it basically has a lot of functions that's related to any blood-related disease. And also it processes the hemoglobin. If it doesn't have a proper functions, then you will experience like jaundice and other problems that is related to the improper processing of hemoglobin. The most common like people that understand liver is detox functions, which is like in TCM we are also like acknowledge all these functions, especially the one that is blood related. But on top of it, our TCM perspective has some additional contributions to how we understand the proper liver functions. The key functions that we look at from a TCM point of view, liver is mainly responsible for the smooth flow of TM blood in our body. It controls the volume and smooth flow of blood in the vessels and also store the blood, which is not quite different from the conventional medicine. Its dispersion functions, however, don't only limit to regulate the TM blood, but it also serve to regulating our emotions, our digestive functions, and also fertility, which is like fertility is a very common problem we experience in the modern world. And a lot of infertility problems that happens to the women is actually quite related to their liver functions and also liver health. The eyes is the sensory organ related to liver. If you have eye issues, including blurry visions, red or dry eyes, itchy eyes, it may be a sign that deep down is that your liver is not functioning properly. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we go to how this is in the next couple of slides. Another thing that's worth noticing is the tendon. Tendon is like a ligament. It's the tissues associated with liver. We recognize that strengths come from the tendons, not muscles. Because we want to be flexible, we want to be strong and agile, like just like a cat, instead of like only have muscles like a cow. And liver health is also like apart from that, like that is also explained that why liver, when they're governing the ligament, is actually determining how effective is our mobility and also our agility, which is all very important for getting us or preventing us from getting old or frail. So liver health is very important, so far, as we explained. And another thing is like the fact that like it store blood and also like the blood storage is actually give us a very important functions of like modulate the whole energy in our body. Like the storing blood functions is not quite different from the what the conventional medicines is understanding. So the conventional medicines also mention that liver has the function of regulate blood levels and also the content in the blood. So TCM has the same understanding. Another things that probably like the worth mentioning is, which is like conventional medicines never mentioned that, is like in TCM point of view, on the spiritual side, liver is responsible to nourish our spiritual consciousness, which we call One. Hun is like responsible for motivate our higher desire and passions. And if the liver blood is too low and not too nourishing it, we will feel quite irritable and distracted, unable to concentrate. And also if the liver T is too low, we will also experience anxiousness and lack of confidence. which is like probably everybody don't want to get into that situations. And then this slide, we are talking about like how our liver energies or the T in the liver can actually affecting a lot of symptoms from happening if it don't have a smooth flow, or the blood in the liver don't have a smooth flow. So like we have internal reasons and then also external elements that affect our liver T and blood. For example, I mentioned before, if you're very angry, like your T and blood will rush upward, and your T flow is not smooth, especially the liver T flows, then we'll end up with migraines, dizziness, or distractions. Like this will become like some of the symptoms you experience. And if it's like coming to a very extreme state, then probably it can also cause a stroke or like a burst of blood vessels in the upper area. So another thing that always like intruded into our T flow is frustration and stress. When you're frustrated, your T don't move around freely. So the frustration and stress will get to a state we call T stagnations, which means that the T flow is blocked and cannot move in a way that it is like in its optimal level. And T stagnation is always the cause of like menstrual pain, bloating, chest pain. Anything that don't move smoothly will cause pain. And then also like T stagnations is also like affecting the movement of things that need to be moved. For example, like if your ovary is like releasing an egg, and if the T movement is not good, then probably it will block the fallopian tube and don't have a good flow of the energy through it, and it end up as like affecting the fertilities of the woman or affecting the proper embedment. So like T stagnation is a state that we don't want to have, because like it affects actually a lot of aspects, including a mood, and also like including it can be a deep cause. If it's a continuous T stagnation for a long period of time, it probably will cause some mood swings, and also the worst is like you can get into depressions. So another thing is like that can affect is external factors. For example, if we take too much different drugs, if we have too much alcohol, if we and taking too much poison, then it will also obstruct the flow of T and blood in our body. And the blood is stagnated in the liver, then it will affect our detoxifying functions. It will have cause cysts, or like they will cause like other blood fluctuations in the liver, and it will end up with like tumor. So like technically we want everything to flow. We don't want anything to be like just fixed in one place and then like become something else. So another thing that I want to mention is the irregular lifestyle, which is like basically like you don't sleep on time, you have a bad sleep hygienes, and or you're over exercising, because sometimes that can be that a cause of that too. And then it will also, for those elements, it will also cause liver T stagnations. And then like with that, it also like, and this type of T stagnations will also deter your abilities to regulate your bowel secretions. And bowel secretions is crucial for our digestion. So like if your bowel secretion is not properly regulated, it will lead to indigestions or even stomachache or any other digestive problem. So as a whole, that we are just trying to see like it's not just your liver can go wrong because of aging or because like infections. It can be deeply affected if you have wrong emotions, if you have under constant stress. It can, whatever that you've done in your lifestyle, and also like the what you intake. So those are very important to take a note of. So this is a slide that actually recap most of the pattern of suboptimal liver health in our life. so this is also like what we see clinically most of the time. So I want to mention is like, what I really want to mention is the liver T stagnations and the liver blood deficiency. So like, because like when we saw liver T stagnations, you will see a lot of recently very popular symptoms is actually related to that, including rib pain, including mood swings, and also the bulging of the stomach and also the reflux. The other things that we want to talk about is like blood is very important in the whole scenario, because if you have liver blood deficiency, you will basically not able to nourish along all the organs that the liver meridian is traveling, so that will end up with like a blurred visions. You may have eye floaters. You may have numbness in the along the line of the meridians traveling. You will have cramps, and sometimes it will also affect your sleeping quality by the end of the day. So, but apart from this qi and blood things, sometimes you will have like when you have a lot of angers inside, extreme emotion will also cause the liver yang over rising. So that will cause, this is the main reason why you have headaches, tinnitus, dry eyes, and sometimes even is a cause of stroke. And the other thing is like the dam hit a trap in the liver meridian, because like when the qi don't move right, then there will be easy to trap the heat inside. And when the heat is there, it will be in a seasons like Hong Kong, or in a geographical area like Hong Kong, we always experience what we call sub-heat. It's like the dam and heat is trapped together. So that will cause another whole series of problems. Like, for example, there will be over discharge from the vagina. You will have you may even have fever and have nauseousness, and also like the urination may be like the colors will be darker, and so it's not properly regulating the whole system. So so that technically that's like basically what we are pretty concerned about, and it's a very common symptoms. Another things that worth mentioning is the liver yang is actually can generate winds. Like when you have see people that have convulsions, or like partial facial paralyzing, or even like more important or more serious symptoms like hemiplegia. This like is all related to what in a TCM point of view is all related to wind, and the internal wind is normally generated by an excessiveness of energies in the liver. Excessive energy is not a good energy. It's like we want everything to be balanced. Like if like you have excessive on one thing, doesn't mean that you are better. We always talk about the yin yang balance, right? We want it to be balanced. We don't want it to be excessive. So when, just like for this example, if you have excessive energies with a yang energy in the liver, it will generate internal wind, and it will actually cause symptoms too. Okay, so take 1 minute break. So when we really talk about it, is like we talk about a lot of the why liver health is so important, why it causes a lot of symptoms, and why and how we observe ourselves in order to see whether we have an imbalance. Now we come to the second part of presentation, is like we want to share with you guys on how can we promote our liver health in our approach. And we will talk about like something that you can do by yourself first, and then we'll like also mention what it need to be done when you need to seek professional help, when you need to seek professional help, what the TCM doctors actually can help you on. And then like we will end up with like some simple do's and don'ts, and then we will go into our Q&A sessions. Okay, so first thing first, as I keep on mentioning, it's all about qi and blood. And it's real, it's all about qi and blood. So in order to have a healthy liver, first things of all is that you have to promote a very healthy qi flow. And the other thing is like the second thing, but it's not like but not least, is like you have to enhance our blood volumes and also enhance its flow. So like by promoting Qi flow, we can prevent Qi sedation, which is like the main cause of a lot of our symptoms. It's the most popular problems that we experience in the liver problem. And then like we also like want to avoid excessive Qi rising. We just mentioned if excessive Qi rising, we can get into turn into wind and it cause a lot of problems. And then like, and the last things is like we want to avoid excessive liver Qi to harm the functions of other functions. In our theory of 5 elements, like we want every element to be balanced, because then over excessive energy in one element can actually harm the other one. For example, for the wood elements, which is where our liver Qi is related to, if they have excessive, they will also like harming the lung and also harming the spleen system. So which means that like, for example, we have already mentioned, like because if there's overactive on the liver Qi, they will affect the digestive functions, and they will also like causing bloating and causing other problems that or even stomach pain. And then like if too much energy flows or too much excessive Qi going into the lung system, it will suppress the lung system and it will cause cough. And sometimes the cough is mainly those with dry cough with blood. So we actually has a lot of experience in clinical side, and we figure out that in order to deal with those problems, first of all, we have to rebalance the liver Qi in the body. So another thing is the blood, there's never an too excessive blood in the liver. So because like more blood, we have more nourishings, and then blood volume can be adjusted by liver system itself. So, but if the blood volume is under, or like it's not with our optimal flow, then we will fail to nourish our liver, and it cause a lot of symptoms. And prevent liver blood and liver deficiency.